Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to grade all of the DC cartoons that I have seen over the years. Now you may have noticed that there aren't a ton of cartoons that I have actually seen. There are about 13-14 cartoons right here, and obviously DCM has made way more cartoons starting from at least the 60s. But the oldest cartoon here is probably Batman the Animated Series, or from the 90s. So there won't be anything like the Super Friends or anything like that here, Swamp Thing, which I haven't seen either. And there are also some newer DC cartoons that I haven't seen. So the cartoons that I have here are Aquaman, the King of Atlantis, Batman Beyond, Beware the Batman, Batman the Animated Series, The Batman, oh no, that's the Beware the Batman right there. And then we have DC Superhero Girls, we have Green Lantern the Animated Series, we have Harley Quinn the Animated Series, and then we have Justice League Action, we have Justice League Unlimited, we have Justice League, we have Superman the Animated Series, we have Teen Titans, we have The Batman, and not to be confused with the movie that released in 2022. And then we have Batman The New Adventures, I believe it's called. Then we have Teen Titans Go and Young Justice. So let's just get right into the video. So as you can see here, we have 5 tiers. It goes from amazing to good to average to bad to terrible. And you know what? The colors were defaulted this way. They probably should have been the opposite way. I mean, amazing having a red color and terrible having a green color doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the way it is and I'm too lazy to change it. So let's start with our first series, which is Aquaman, King of Atlantis. Now this series got a lot of flack when it was announced and when the trailer came out on that DC Fandom event. And people were so mad. I remember they were not happy. And you know what? This isn't Aquaman that we know and maybe some of us love. I don't really know the Aquaman situation in 2023 because some people claim to love Aquaman, some people claim to say that Aquaman is a good character, some people are indifferent. I remember Aquaman's been seen as a joke for a long time, and now that this series released, they act like they are all-time Aquaman fans and that he is the greatest character in the world and that they ruined him. But you know what? I watched the show. I was skeptical about the show because it looked kind of weird, the animation. It looked super unappealing to me. But as I watched it, I actually really enjoyed it. It is a different take, kind of a different take on the Aquaman character, and you know what? I think it works. I think it works especially well because Aquaman isn't like... I mean, Aquaman is a popular character, but he isn't... I don't think he is anyone's favorite character. Like, I feel like you can get away with changing the personalities of some superheroes without anyone really caring because they aren't super big. Now, if you did it to Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, yeah, people would be angry, but remember the Suicide Squad? Absolutely no one cared when they changed the suit of Bloodsport and changed his whole personality to basically be Deadshot. I mean, nobody cared because no one knew who Bloodsport was and nobody cared who Bloodsport was. But I actually made a video on the original Bloodsport. You can watch it in the title card in the top right corner. But anyway, Aquaman, the King of Atlantis is actually pretty good. I mean, I found myself laughing through the entire show. I'm not gonna lie, I love the dynamic between Mera and Aquaman. I really enjoyed the show and I'm gonna say it's good. You know what, I probably should have more tiers here because I'm gonna create another tier between good and average. So I created a new tier called good but not quite good enough, and Aquaman King of Atlantis fits perfectly in there because, while it's good, I probably cannot rank it as good considering all these other shows that might or might not be good. So the new Batman Adventures is a continuation of Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, and this is the overall third series in the DC animated universe. and it was followed by Batman Beyond. But in the new Adventures of Batman, I'm just gonna call it the new Adventures of Batman because I keep messing it up. But the series had a revamp, replacing the older animation style of Batman the Animated Series to maintain similar continuity with the simultaneously running Superman the Animated Series. So stories in this new series tended to focus more on Batman's supporting cast, which included Robin, Nightwing, and Batgirl, among some others. The series also featured guest characters such as Supergirl, Ezekiel the Demon, and the Creeper, all characters who would later appear in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Now, while this series being amazing or really good, it did have some flaws, which mainly, includes Batgirl and the relationship of Batman and Batgirl. I believe it was in this series, or it may have been in some other movies. I remember that although it was like cited as being a lot of Robin, I feel like he didn't really show up a whole lot in this series, considering everything. The same with Batgirl. It's like they were either off to college or some weird stuff. They were always busy, so they showed up for like, to my recollection, they were like in the series for like maybe 20%. But I could be wrong. But while not being Batman the Animated Series level of good, I think it's still a good series overall. Next up is Batman the Animated Series, and we have already been talking a little bit about this series, and you know what? I thought this series was way longer than it actually was. I watched all the series on HBO Max in a pretty short time span, and it only got 2 seasons. It does, however, have 85 episodes, but you can complete it pretty fast. Obviously, it got an expansion with the series that we just mentioned, and obviously it was retitled in season 2 to The Adventures of Batman and Robin, and even though it was titled The Adventures of Batman and Robin, he wasn't in it a lot. Now, this series revolutionized the more serious DC cartoons, and it was obviously developed by Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and Mitch Bryan, and of course it featured the legendary Kevin Conroy, the late Kevin Conroy, and of course Mark Hamill as the Joker. It originally aired between 1992 and 1995. Now, this was before my time. I'm born in 1999, but I remember growing up that Batman the Animated Series aired on television. Batman the Animated Series was praised for its darker tone, mature writing, and thematic complexity compared to previous superhero cartoons. And it had this film noir aesthetic that was really, really cool with the blimps in the sky, and even though it was set in the 90s where, there were no blimps, it still had that gothic noir feeling. And you know what? I think to this day that there are not a lot of series or cartoons that can rival Batman the Animated Series, and therefore it has to go in the amazing tier. Batman Beyond is a good series. Now, I believe Batman Beyond got 2 or 3 seasons. The season was cancelled prematurely, and till this day we don't know why. And I'm pretty sure that this series ended on a cliffhanger. I remember watching Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, and Batman Beyond back to back. And Batman Beyond, when it ended, it just wants you. It leaves you wanting more. It ended prematurely, very prematurely, and you know what? I wish that they would bring the story back, but are they really going to now? I mean, with all the shows that Warner Brothers is canceling, there's no way they are gonna order a Batman Beyond television series after all these years. But still, I feel like it's still a very good show, and I think it edges out the Batman, the New Adventures, or the New Adventures of Batman, whatever, the New Batman Adventures. Superman the Animated Series is another series that I remember being a lot longer and a lot different than I thought it was, because when I watched this series, I was like, I'm expecting Lois Lane and Superman to officially end up together, but I believe that it didn't happen. I mean, I believe she didn't even know at the end of the series who he was. Now, I don't know why I remember this so differently, but it only got 54 episodes. It did get 4 seasons, but only with 54 episodes. When you compare that to Batman the Animated Series, which got 2 seasons with like 80 episodes, there is definitely a contrast there. And obviously, Batman and Superman are vividly different characters, and you can't really compare them. But I feel like Batman deals with greater and darker themes than Superman. But Superman, the animated series, is still a good series, and that's why I'm gonna put it in the good tier. Teen Titans Go. Now, Teen Titans Go is very divisive, to say the least, especially when you compare it to the original Teen Titans show that aired in like 2001 or 2002 or 2003, 2004, whenever it aired, 2005. Who cares? Now, anything coming after Teen Titans would not live up to expectations. I'm fairly confident of that. No matter what it would have been, I don't think that it would have lived up to the original Teen Titans. But when Teen Titans Go came out, I don't think that was what people were expecting, especially being the predecessor of Teen Titans. Is predecessor the right word? Predecessor the thing that comes before? Whatever. They didn't expect the Teen Titans show to come after the original Teen Titans show to be Teen Titans Go, and you know what? They cannot be compared whatsoever, because Teen Titans, while having, dark themes, serious themes, having a very serious story with complex characters that have teenage issues, among other issues, to be compared to Teen Titans Go, where none of the characters are serious. It doesn't really have a story, it doesn't have a continuous story. I mean, you just can't compare them. And you know what? People were so angry at this show. Obviously, this show is not aimed toward the audience of Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans that are now the same age as me, like 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. This show is clearly aimed at 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, maybe 10-year-olds even. And obviously, I know that when Teen Titans Go teased that the original Teen Titans would be coming back, people were so hyped, and then it just amounted to nothing. Now, obviously, we had a crossover between the original Teen Titans show and Teen Titans Go, but that was only one special event, and they were never to be seen again. And I think that Teen Titans Go has potential, because some of the animation that they have shown to be capable of producing is really, really good. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, the writers of the show are fully aware that, of what the fans want, and they just choose to ignore it. I mean, they have had a ton of animation styles in this series, but they keep reverting back to the ugly ass, big ass heads for some reason. Now, I know that they have so much more promise than what they are given. Now, I don't know if it's them or if it's Warner Brothers or DC, but with the right resources and with the right writing team, I believe Teen Titans Go could be really, really good. Now, it's not really, really good. It's not good, but not quite good enough. I would say it's probably bad. I would say maybe average, but for someone who actually wants a story in their superhero cartoons and maybe a little bit more complexity, I'm gonna have to put it into the bad tier, even though I don't believe it's like quite so bad that that people are making it out to be, but it's clearly not good either. Now to a show that was really, really unappreciated at the time, and it is Batman the Brave and the Bold. Batman the Brave and the Bold wasn't really appreciated at the time because it wasn't really, really serious. I saw someone on Twitter that credited Batman Brave and the Bold with introducing so many obscure, DC characters that would otherwise not appear on any other show, and you know what? It absolutely did. Batman the Brave and the Bold introduced so many characters, and it even had an arc with, Justice League International with ice and fire and stuff on the team. And I remember that vampire episode vividly. That was amazing, that episode. But the Music Master episodes, that Bird of Prey, they were just ruling over Batman. It has a lot of iconic moments. I always loved the series. I rewatched it a few years ago, and it was the first time that I completed this actual series to see the ending of the series, which just baffles my mind. But still, this series was super good. It was very unappreciated at the time, but I think people now are coming around to it while being a good show. I wouldn't quite put it as Batman Beyond type of good, but I will say it's good but not quite good enough, but it's still good and it's way better than average, and I also put it above Aquaman. Beware the Batman is also another series that was really underappreciated at the time. Now, I don't think people were fully, on board with CGI animation. I still don't think that they are. I still prefer 2D animation over 3D animation, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, this was the first Batman series to be fully CG, and it was maybe not that well received, but I watched it recently and I think it's really good actually. Now, most Batman shows are pretty good, I would say, and this is pretty much the same. And I remember this introducing me to the character of Katana, and ever since then I have fallen in love with the Katana character. Now, obviously, in the series she was dressed in all black leather, I believe, a far cry to what the Katana character actually is, but still really liked the character. And it portrays Batman as a pretty good but very distrustful character. Some people may not like that Batman. Some people like Batman when he's not quite so cold and detached. But obviously he was also pretty mean sometimes to his butler, Alfred. But even after everything, the Batman is a good character, and he eventually let Katana in and they became pretty close. And even though I still, don't really like the CG, they introduced us to, Mr. Pig and Toad, and as well as Magpie. So I would say this is the same tier as Batman the Brave and the Bold. Now, I don't know where I would put it, if I would put it better than Brave and the Bold. No, the story is definitely more serious than Brave and the Bold, but Brave and the Bold did so much, for the superhero fan in me, introducing so many characters that I would never have known about. So I'm gonna leave it where it is. Now, Young Justice, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not seen the entire Young Justice series. I have seen season 1, season 2, they were amazing. Then I have seen half of season 3, and I have seen nothing of season 4. Now I hear season 4 is pretty bad, and while season 3 was it wasn't average, it was better than average. It was still not for me. I don't know, there was something about the new characters that just didn't vibe with me. I prefer the older cast, and obviously season 1 and season 2 were amazing. If I only had to rank the 2 seasons of Young Justice, it would be in the amazing category, or tier for real. But with season 3 kinda diminishing that, and then season 4 apparently being pretty bad, I'm gonna have to put it in the good tier. Now, probably above Batman, the new adventures, to be honest, and probably even above Superman. This might be controversial, but Young Justice at its peak was so effing good, man. Young Justice goes in the good category. If not for season 3 being kinda meh, would probably go in the amazing tier, to be honest. And then season 4 we'll probably knock it back down to good, so it is in the right spot. Now, DC Superhero Girls is kind of a weird show because it's not a TV show, it is a web show, and it's kind of similar to Teen Titans Go, but not really, because it takes itself more seriously than Teen Titans Go while still being, if it's clearly aimed at girls, for girls that like around the age of 10, 11, 12, maybe a little bit younger also. It is there to introduce girls to the superhero genre and medium. And you know what? While clearly not aimed at adults, I think it's pretty good. It does a pretty good job at telling kids that, hey, we're getting the message out there that, hey, you know what? Superheroes isn't just for the boys. Girls can enjoy superheroes as well, and there's no shame in that because we have Supergirl, we have Wonder Woman, we have Batgirl, the DC trinity of females, I would say. Obviously we have Black Canary also. I don't think she features in this series, actually. And then we have obviously Satana as well, who doesn't feature in this series either, I think. I mean, I know she features in the second generation, but I can't remember if she features in the first generation. I can appreciate the show for what it is, and while not being on the same level as Beware the Batman and the Batman, I would put it at average because it's definitely not as complex or as good as, any of the Batman shows that we have ranked so far, and it's definitely better than Teen Titans Go. Even though you probably can get more laughs out of Teen Titans Go, I still think that the creators actually put some effort into DC Superhero Girls, even though the animation is pretty horrible. Justice League now. Justice League. Ah, man. I mean, is this one of the best cartoons ever? I mean, not just superhero cartoons, but like cartoons ever. Like, I remember, buying my mother, when we were in England, I believe, we bought, a disc of Justice League. It had, I believe, the first few seasons on there, and I remember watching that over and over again, when I was a kid. And I also recently watched Justice League, and man, what can I say? It's one of my favorite cartoons ever. And while being amazing and dealing with some complex issues, and not all the superheroes get along, which, you would think that, oh, they're superheroes, they all have to get along with each other. This is a cartoon. They do not. Proven by, Wonder Woman, and then Hawkgirl, and Vixen as well. And I know you have seen all the, hidden adult jokes or whatever it's called, on YouTube. So that's also in there. And while seriously underpowering Superman, ridiculously much, it's still a very good show. And I would even dare to say it is amazing. It's pretty difficult to rank Batman the Animated Series and Justice League. While I think the Batman is a lot darker in tone than Justice League. Justice League just expanded on the Batman the Animated Series. Obviously, Robin and Batgirl don't make an appearance in Justice League. It still expands on the character of Batman. He's not even a full-time member of the Justice League. He's just a part-time member. And he runs the Justice League. Even though he's a part-time member, he owns that league. You cannot talk about Justice League without mentioning Justice League Unlimited. And I'm just gonna put it in amazing straight away. Now, everything that the Justice League does well, Justice League Unlimited just does better, and it expands the, I believe, 7 character roster of Hawkgirl, Flash, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter to include to the likes of Supergirl, Black Canary, Zatanna, Green Arrow, The Question, and of course Huntress, among many other characters. Now, I feel like this is kind of the holy trinity of DC shows: Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, and then Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Action. Now, Justice League Action. It was never gonna be easy to live up to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. This was the first Justice League series since Justice League Unlimited, and it had quite a lot to live up to. And you know what? Well, some people do not like it. I think it's good, and while not being Justice League Unlimited and not trying to be Justice League Unlimited, it does its own thing. It's definitely not as serious, but it gave us, you know, characters such as Plastic Man and Booster Gold, and they really pushed heavily for those two characters. And while being not as good as Justice League Unlimited or the Justice League OG show, it did get a lot of laughs out of me, and obviously not on the same level as Young Justice. I think it's still a really good show. I mean, I highly recommend watching it, even if you're a little bit skeptical. And of course, it has a different art style than Justice Unlimited, and it doesn't carry on the story of Justice League Unlimited. It does its own thing. Who remembers Green Lantern, the animated series? Now, I sure don't. Well, one thing I do remember about Green Lantern, the animated series, is that AI woman android called like Aria or something like that, and I remember absolutely having a crush on her when I was younger. And Green Lantern the animated series and, you know, Young Justice kinda link up, considering that Red Lantern guy in the Green Lantern animated series shows up. I will put images up on the screen. I don't know if they are officially linked and they take place in officially the same universe. I don't think they do, but it's kinda cool to see that a character in the Green Lantern series appear in the Young Justice series many years later. Now, while I do not remember a lot about the Green Lantern series, I still remember it being quite good, actually. If I don't remember how good it actually was, and I remember how good all these other shows were, then I will probably have to put it down in, you know, probably better than Justice League Action, but not better than Beware the Batman. Harley Quinn. Now, this series is an enigma to me. While I do enjoy the show, it absolutely character assassinates the likes of Batman and Robin, among some other characters. I feel like it just makes a lot of characters like completely different for the sake of boosting the character of Harley Quinn, which, you know, I don't think needs to be done, because I think Harley Quinn can hold her own as a character. And while having seen season 1 and season 2 and not having seen season 3, I believe it's called like 25 to Life, Bang and Kiss Tour or something like that. While people say the series is amazing and one of the greatest things that they have ever seen, and obviously this is adult oriented, I just don't understand the hype behind it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty good show, but like, is it amazing or anything like that? No, I quite wouldn't say so. Now, considering the fact that I haven't seen season 3 and that I probably won't be watching season 3, meaning that I could not get through the show, it cannot get a better rating than Beware the Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold. Now, I probably should rank it even lower. I probably should rank it there. Yeah, because I watched the entire Justice League Action show and the entire Green Lantern animated series show, and I got through that with ease. And if I really enjoyed the Harley Quinn series, I probably would have watched it by now, and I haven't. So for that reason, it gotta be there. I'm sorry if you're like raging right now, but it has to be there. I cannot see any other way. So the Batman TV series, I remember that the Batman and Green Arrow did not get along in this series, and I remember, you know, Batman and, no, not Batman, Supergirl, no, not Supergirl, Batgirl and Robin, you know, being pretty jealous of each other or something like that. Like, they got along in the end, but I remember when Bruce Wayne revealed to Robin who Batgirl was, and he was like, oh, the Commission's kid? And one thing that I thought was funny is that there's not a single female member on the roster, which I just thought was pretty funny. It's like, I saw someone pointed it out on Twitter, and I just don't know why that is the case. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every other Justice League has had a female member on the team. I mean, how do you leave out the likes of Wonder Woman? Like, she is the DC Trinity. but they did not include her in this show for some reason. And I haven't seen the show since that was pointed out to me. So if I go watch back and now and watch it, I'm going to be like pretty weirded out that they didn't include a single female member on the Justice League. Obviously, there's still a female in the Bat family, as Batgirl is right there, but that's kind of different to the Justice League. But despite all that, it's still a good show, and I would probably put it there. I'm not sure if is it better than Justice League Action. It probably is, isn't it? Man, I'm gonna have to rewatch all these shows now. Well, not all of them, but some of them. You know, I started on Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans. I just haven't finished it yet. And it's been a pretty long while since I watched the last episode. It's been like at least like half a year. So I'm gonna get back on the grind. So now to the last Teen Titans show. And Teen Titans, you know, we all want Teen Titans to return. I believe we got 6 seasons, and we are not content with 6 seasons. We need more. What do you think? What if Teen Titans got an actual reboot? You know, not even Teen Titans Go, just Teen Titans got a reboot. And, you know, maybe they added some characters like Wonder Girl to the roster. How would you feel about that? Would you be in denial? Would you reject it? Or do you just want a revival of the Teen Titans cartoon? Now this just is speculation territory. I don't know what the writers would do if they happen to bring the series back, but I remember Teen Titans being really good. And yeah, oh shoot, it goes there, man. Like, Teen Titans is one of the quintessential shows of my generation. So as you can see, there is no DC show that I've seen that is in the terrible category, because the terrible DC cartoons don't exist. Now, some people might put Teen Titans Go in the terrible list along with DC Superhero Girls, but I don't roll that way. I see shows for what they are. Now, I might not agree with what they are, but I'm not gonna put a show in the terrible category just because it's aimed at, you know, pre-teens. So that's why Teen Titans goes in the bad category. Now, if I was someone else, it probably would have been in the terrible category, and DC Superhero Girls would have gone in the bad category. But as I have explained myself, that's not how I roll. Now, thank you so much for watching. We have Justice League Unlimited, Justice League Batman The Animated Series in the Amazing tier. We have Batman Beyond, Young Justice, the OG Teen Titans show, Batman The Animated Series, and Batman The New Adventures, or The New Adventures of Batman in the good category. We are good, but not quite good enough. We have Batman Brave and the Bold, Beware the Batman, Green Lantern The Animated Series, The Batman TV show, Justice League Action, Harley Quinn The Animated Series, which is just called Harley Quinn, and Aquaman King of Atlantis. And then we have DC Superhero Girls Alone in the average tier, and Teen Titans Go in the bad tier, and no TV show in the terrible tier. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye.
When I look at you, I see the story in your eyes. When we're dancing, the night begins to shine!